First of all, it's very awkward for me to take that kind of credit because I have to mention Tiero Lee, who is my producing partner, who's not sitting in this chair right here, to share in that credit. And probably more appropriately, there's a huge team of people who also need to share in that credit in creating the vision, in crafting the intention of the Arise Festival, and in executing that vision. And I also can't really even begin to talk about that without mentioning these incredible people here at the Sunrise Ranch who have opened up their home, their organic farm, and their hearts to the not only to the people that are producing this festival, but for the attendees that are the festival. And I just can't say it. Excuse me. I can't say enough about the good fortune that a bunch of talented festival producer types have to have a group of people that are here at this community at the Sunrise Ranch open to what we wanted to do. And I think it's largely because our intention was expressed to them very clearly from the very beginning, and it was harmonious with what their own place is. And I see David is here from the Sunrise Ranch, and I just want to acknowledge them first. And I also want to acknowledge that there is and now this is going to sound a little esoteric, and I'm not usually the most esoteric guy in the room, but there is a vibe here that is tangible, and people are already talking about the vibe. And you don't get that everywhere. You don't go to the mall and talk about the vibe. You don't go to Disneyland and talk about the vibe, although I have been calling this festival Disneyland. There is a tangible vibe here. And I think that's not only because of the people that live in this community that have been here for 68 years, and this is an organic farm. For 68 years, pesticides have never touched the soil here, which speaks a lot about their wisdom and their intention, but I also believe that this is sacred ground, that this is a magical valley, and that in one of the earliest experiences that I had in being here, there was an American bald eagle that circled above us 3 times over this, what is now the concert bowl, the main stage concert bowl. And we all sat there like this. And nobody said a word, and we watched the eagle fly over the campground 3 times slowly, and then take off over the rimrock. And we all looked at each other, and we all essentially said the same thing, because we all felt the same feeling, and that was that this bald eagle was blessing our intention. And so as a guiding principle, we came up with the phrase, always do what's best for the fest. And we put those words in our office, in our production office, and we put it in all the offices here on the festival grounds. And that's the guiding principle. Always do what's best for the fest. And I feel very fortunate, very blessed to be a part of a group of people who are executing such a high vision for what I would call an Arise movement. And so our objective with this festival was not just to entertain people, which of course is a lot of entertainment here. And entertainment is an attraction that will draw people together. I like to describe the music as being like a fire, and we're drawn to it like on a cold night, because there's something deep in our DNA, it's ancient, that is a longing, a need to be together as community, as tribe. And so that's why the festival of today exists. Because we are human beings, and we have this history together as a species. And so this place is what, for me, is what the Arise Festival is about. The place, the people, the performers, everything that begins with the letter P. Port toilets, permits, problems, all these things. So I also want to thank all of you in the media for your interest in this, because I think that your interest in this festival is no different than what everybody else's is. But we have a higher purpose, if you will, that we keep a insight that we maintain in how we do what we do in executing this event. And that is that we not only want to entertain people, but we want to enlighten people. We want to inform people. We want to inspire people. And most of all, we want to empower people. And before I bring Daryl and Julia out here so you can talk to them, two women that I love very deeply and I've worked very closely with for many years, and I get much inspiration from their passion, their wisdom, their insight. And I want to tell a little story about Julia, because I've seen her do this in the 15 years that I've been working with her, and I like to say I've been working with Julia Butterfly since she was a caterpillar back in the late 90s. She's rolling her eyes. I've seen Julia, who has a great gift to inspire people through her actions and through her words. And I've seen people come up to her inevitably after an event and tell her that what you've done has inspired me. And what she's done has inspired me, so I understand. And what you have said, Julia, has really inspired me. And I've seen Julia lean in and look at them and say, to do what? and that is a great inspiration for me and what our intention is with the Arise Music Festival. We really want to move people. We want people to be empowered. We want people to arise. Because that's our passion. And that is what life is about. So I want to bring Julia Butterfly Hill and Daryl Hannah. And I also want to mention something else. If some of you don't know this, I have worked with both of them in my other incarnation in my life in numerous capacities. And in the 7 years that I've been working with Daryl, Daryl's been arrested 5 times engaging in civil disobedience. So, I'm either a good influence or a bad influence, depending on how you see that. But there is a connection here. Julia was doing a tour, a speaking tour at colleges across the country in 2006, and she very specifically wanted to go to community colleges and poor inner city colleges where they don't have a budget to bring in speakers that are nationally known or internationally known, because they don't. And so one of the colleges that we had booked Julia at that time was LA City College. And they really didn't have any money to pay, but that didn't matter. That wasn't the reason that she was there. And it has long been a requirement that when Julia goes to a college, because she knows that she will inspire people. And she knows that that inspiration doesn't last, that it will dissipate. So it's always been a requirement that the college or the university or the conference allow on-campus organizations or community organizations who are working on peace, social justice, environmental issues, to have a space in the lobby to table, so that the people on that campus who are working on these issues not only have an opportunity to be there when students are inspired, but those students have an opportunity to plug in immediately while they're inspired to those that are working on those issues. And one of those community groups that was tabling at LA City College was a group that was called the South Central Farm. And this was the largest inner city community garden in the United States. And it was a 14-acre garden, organic garden, in the middle of the most economically devastated part of the U.S., or one of them certainly, South Central Los Angeles. And it was given to the community there after the L.A. riots by L.A. Mayor at that time, Mayor Bradley. And it was just one of those, here's this, in the midst of all these railroad tracks and warehouses, this plot of land that's got, refrigerators dumped on it and whatnot. And the community cleaned it up and turned it into a beautiful organic garden in a part of the country where they don't have Trader Joe's and Whole Foods and other options. They have more liquor stores than they have grocery stores. And these leaders, elected leaders of this community garden, came to Julia, and they told them that they were being threatened. The city was going to kick them off this farm that was feeding 500 families. And Julia said to them, if they threaten to kick you off, you come talk to me. You come get me, and I'm going to help you. It chokes me up when I think about it. And so one day I get this call from Julia, and she said, I'm going to do this. And I thought, oh, I guess so am I. And I really didn't know what it was. And then I found out. And Julia said, we're going to call up every celebrity we know. And we're going to try and get the press there. Because this is an injustice that people need to know about. And Julia reached out to Daryl Hannah and asked Daryl to come there. And I'm going to tell you a little story here, Daryl, because Daryl thought, okay, I'm going to bring my video camera, I'm going to make this little vlog for my website about this story about these people doing things. And Daryl never left for 3 weeks until the police and the fire department cut her out of a walnut tree and arrested her. And it was the first time she had ever been arrested for engaging in civil disobedience. And I also want to mention John Quigley, who was with Daryl in that tree, who was the other activist that Julia brought in right from the beginning when we organized what was really an encampment. It was an Occupy. And we said, we're just not going to leave. And then the police ultimately came in and they bulldozed the place. And to this day, they still haven't built the factory there that they said they were going to build. But Daryl's life was changed by that experience. And I've heard her say that is when she went from being an advocate to being an activist. And so I just want to tell these stories because these two women inspire me every day. And I'm so grateful that they came here to the festival to inspire others with their actions and their words and their passion and their unwillingness to relent to the powers that be. On behalf of the defenseless and on behalf of all that is good.